Welcome to my latest case, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial. Dear Ned, remember Sally McDonald, the woman who took those photos that Dad has up in his office? Well, she just bought a house in Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. A gangster named Mickey Malone built it back in the 20s as his country getaway. We're talking major fixer-upper. Anyway, last night Sally called and she said she desperately needed my detective skills. She refused to say why over the phone. Naturally, I said I'd drive to Moon Lake immediately. But weird things started happening the moment I pulled up. First, this big tree fell down behind my car and has me totally blocked in. And then I discovered that Sally's gone. She left a note that suggested something terrible happens here at night. She's supposed to call me from her car. So here I sit, writing to you while I wait for the phone to ring. It's nighttime, and although part of me is dying to know what frightened Sally away, another part of me is starting to feel a little uneasy. I'll let you know what happens. Ever yours, Nancy. Hello?
Nancy, hi, it's Sally. We have to talk fast because I'm in my car and my cell phone's running low, so we might get cut off. But did you see my note?
Yes, are you all right?
No, I feel awful bailing on you like that. You must think I'm such a flake.
I'm just worried about you. What's wrong?
I couldn't stand the thought of spending another night there. I knew you were on your way, but it didn't help. I just got too scared.
What's to be scared of? It's so peaceful and quiet here.
Just wait until it gets dark. Then you'll see. What am I saying? Nancy, you shouldn't be there by yourself either. Why don't you just go get in your car and go home? Or drive to Philadelphia. My aunt's got plenty of room.
No way. You've got me so curious, I wouldn't leave even if I could.
What do you mean?
A tree fell down behind my car just as I was driving up to the house. I'm blocked in.
Oh, the dead maple beside the driveway. Oh, they told me it was in danger of falling over when I had the place inspected. I just never got around to doing anything about it. Listen, call M's Emporium. That's a store on the lake. Emily knows everybody. She'll know who to call if she decides to answer her phone.
It's late. Won't the store be closed?
Where's my brain? Okay, look. I just bought a little outboard motorboat. I haven't used it yet, but the guy who put it in for me said it should run just fine. It's tied up at the dock out front. Just get in it and go. Go anywhere. Just get away from the house.
I can't just take off in your boat. It's pitch black outside.
Then listen to me. Go around the house and lock all the doors and windows. Do that right now.
There aren't any locks on the doors and windows. What are you so afraid of?
The dogs. Those dogs. Out of nowhere. They're outside howling and snarling. Teeth and claws. Horrible.
Dogs? Hello? Did you say dogs? Hello?
Nancy, how's it going?
Hey, Bess. How'd you know it was me?
Telepathy, of course. Just another of my many talents.
You are so full of it. She got caller ID, Nancy. So now, instead of hanging up on the geeks that always call her, she just doesn't answer the phone.
Very funny. So what's up?
I could sure use a nice big hint right about now.
Yikes, I am without a clue.
Same here. Sorry, Nance.
Believe it or not, Sally went to her aunt's in Philadelphia. I'm here by myself.
Why? What happened? Did you two have a fight?
Oh, Bess. Nancy Drew does not have fights. Heated debates? Maybe. Fights? Never.
Why else would Sally just take off like that?
She said something happens when it gets dark here. Something really, really scary.
Scary as in what?
Yeah, people type scary or ghost type scary?
Dog type scary. She called to warn me about the dogs.
Dogs? As in Rin Tin Tin, Old Yeller...
Huckleberry Hound.
Apparently, there are some dogs around here that come out at night and are pretty scary. That's about all she had the chance to say before we got cut off.
Dogs aren't scary. Maybe it's some other kind of animal.
That's possible.
As soon as you hang up, you're going to go prowling around outside, aren't you?
Why, Bess, that's a great idea.
Well, be careful.
And if anything does happen, run. No, wait. Call us first, then run.
I will. Bye, you guys.
Good luck, Nancy.
And stay in touch.
What is that? Something's out there.
Now look what you've done. That was a Strix Varia. At least I think it was. Never know for sure now, will I?
Who are you?
My name's Red Knot. And if you've got a volume knob, I'd appreciate your taking it down a notch before you scare away everything from here to Lancaster.
I'm Nancy Drew. What were all those noises out here just now?
That was me, Miss Nancy Drew, calling in birds. And doing a pretty good job of it, too, till you showed up. Where'd you come from, anyway?
I'm staying here in the old Malone place.
Now, why would you want to do a thing like that? The Malone house is no place for one young woman, let alone two.
What do you know about the woman living here?
I talked to her a couple of times. But you know, the last time I saw her, she wasn't doing so good. She acted real anxious, scared.
Did she say what was wrong?
The dogs. The dogs of Mickey Malone. Legend goes that when Malone was finally arrested and hauled away, his 4 dogs went running off into the woods and were never seen again. People would just hear 'em, howling like their hearts were broken every night until one by one, they all died and went silent. But every time someone tries living in the Malone house, back they come.
Are you saying Sally's house is haunted by ghost dogs?
Every night, ever since she moved in, you could hear 'em howling. And some nights the dogs would appear outside the house, running around, snarling and barking and throwing themselves at the doors and windows. And then they'd be gone. They're buried in the cemetery just beyond the house, you know. Them and Malone both.
The dogs would attack her house?
It's like they don't want anybody but Malone living there. I guess they don't know he's dead. And so are they.
Did they ever attack Sally?
She never gave them the chance. After the first attack, she stopped going out at night. Just locked the doors when it got dark and sat tight until morning.
Why haven't the police investigated?
This isn't New York City, Miss Nancy Drew. All they got around here is one officious little park ranger. And all Jeff Akers does is sit around all day trying to figure out how he can get himself transferred out of here to a bigger park.
Do you live close by?
I just come to Moon Lake in the spring to look for birds. Got an observation platform just up the path, kind of my base camp, and I've got a little outboard down there on the lake. Left my car at the big dock up lake. Don't really need it.
Are those the ghost dogs?
Yes, ma'am. Which is why I think it would be a good idea if I went my merry way and you got yourself back inside that house. Good luck, Miss Nancy Drew.
This is not good. Those look too rotten. A face only a gnome could love. Oh, the key broke off. There's got to be another way to get this open. It's not safe to take the boat out at night. I better be careful. Looks like paw prints. These look like dog tracks. The boat's full of water. The spark plug is missing. It's stuck. I need some sandpaper.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, did you see them? Did you see the dogs?
Yes, I did, and I can understand why you left. They were pretty frightening. But if it's okay with you, I'd really like to stay and get to the bottom of whatever's going on. That's why you asked me here in the first place, right?
Yes, but Nancy, are you sure?
Positive. Consider Detective Drew officially on the case.
I wish I were even half the trooper you are, Nancy. I have such high hopes for that house. All the beauty there, the wildlife, all the pictures I was going to take. It would break my heart to have to give it up.
I need you to tell me everything you can about those dogs.
They're black and they have yellow glowing eyes and they don't like me one bit.
When's the first time you saw them?
Well, let's see. I heard them the very first night I was here. I heard them almost every night, howling in the distance, but I didn't actually see them until I'd been here about a week. After that, they started appearing pretty much every other night.
When they appeared, did they always do the same thing?
Yes, come to think of it. They always came running up to the house, barking and snarling. They'd lunge at the windows, they'd jump up on the door, they'd run around and bark some more, then they'd run off. What are you getting at?
These attacks seem to involve a lot of choreography, which reinforces my theory that you're not being randomly attacked by a pack of wild dogs, but by dogs who've been trained by someone determined to scare you out of your house at Moon Lake.
Who would want to do that? My closest neighbor lives 2 miles away. My property is surrounded by the state park, but it's off-season, so hardly anybody is in the park. In fact, I bet I talked to a total of 3 people the whole 4 weeks I was at Moon Lake.
Which 3 people?
Let's see, the park ranger, I forget his name, kind of a pain in the neck. Emily Griffin, she's the one who owns that store I told you about. And I ran into this bird watcher a couple of times. Had a funny name.
Red Knot. I've run into him too.
Other than people I may have nodded hello to while getting gas or something, I swear those are the only people I've talked to at Moon Lake.
What about River Heights? Can you think of anyone there who'd want you to sell your house at Moon Lake and move back to River Heights?
You mean like an angry ex-boyfriend or something? Nope, I sure can't.
Since I'm going to be staying here a while, is there anything I should know about the place?
Well, let's see. I've got the water turned off because it's well water and it needs to be tested before I can use it for anything. In fact, if you could get that testing done for me, I'd really appreciate it. Oh, and watch where you walk in the living room. Some of the floorboards are so rotten you could fall right through. And I keep hearing these faint squeaks and rustling type noises coming from below the floor. I hope you're not scared of mice.
Your outboard motorboat is missing a spark plug. Is there one around here by any chance?
I wouldn't know a spark plug if I swallowed one whole. But you need that boat, Nancy. Right now, it's your lifeline. You can't use your car, and believe me, you can't walk anywhere because all the paths around the house end in this thick, horrible brush. You've got to get it fixed. Wait a minute. The bird watcher, he's got a boat. Maybe you could borrow his spark plug or something. Go down the path that's to the right as you look out toward the lake from the house, and you'll eventually see his observation platform. Try him at night. He never seems to be around during the day.
I could really use some sandpaper. Do you have any stashed away somewhere?
Sure don't. Try M's Emporium. That's on the west side of the lake. And brace yourself if you haven't been there yet. The place is something else.
How well do you know the owner?
I feel like I've known her all my life. She's so open and friendly. She likes to make it sound as if Moon Lake used to be a major hangout for criminals and degenerates, which isn't really true and irks some people around here no end. But I figure she's just trying to make a buck.
Are you aware that you're the proud owner of your very own cemetery?
Yes. When the realtor told me there was a cemetery on the property, I went, ugh. But when I saw how far from the house it was and how small it was, I decided I could live with it, as it were.
So you didn't go out there much?
No.
Where'd all that stuff in your tool shed come from?
It's just junk left behind by previous owners. Came with the house. I've been meaning to take inventory and start pitching stuff, but I didn't. If they ever make procrastination a crime, I'm done for.
How do I go about getting your water tested?
Try the ranger station on the east side of the lake. I've been told you can get some kind of kit there.
I'm curious. Why did you characterize the park ranger as a pain in the neck?
I left part of a ham sandwich on a picnic table once. Big mistake. From the way he carried on, you'd think I just made the FBI's 10 most wanted list. I don't think he likes me. Emily says it's because I wrecked his dream of becoming super ranger or something when I bought the Malone house instead of the parks department. Me, I think he just basically has a problem relating to people unless they're asking questions or breaking the law.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
The moon's so bright, I won't need my flashlight.
Well, it's Miss Nancy Drew.
Does that mean you'd like me to call you Mr. Red Knot?
All right, then. Hello, Nancy. Now put a muffler on it, would ya? I just heard a cerulean warbler.
Did you say last night that you have an outboard motorboat?
Sure do. Only type of motorized vehicle that's allowed on Moon Lake. Heck, if it were up to me, I'd ban them too. Have everybody get around by canoe. Nothing like the threat of physical activity to keep tourists away.
Why don't you like tourists?
I came to see birds, not people. The more people there are in a forest, the fewer birds there are. It's a fact of life. Reason I like to come here is because nobody else does. It's perfect. Not a decent grocery store, restaurant, or motel for miles.
There's no place nearby that sells boat parts? Sally's outboard is missing a spark plug.
I might be able to help you out. After all, I was a Boy Scout. Be prepared.
You mean you have a spark plug I could buy?
Well, just so happens I've got 2 spark plugs right here in my pocket. Question is, if I give you one, what do I get for it? I don't need cash, but maybe you could take a few pictures for me. Know how to use a digital camera?
Sure. What would you like me to take pictures of?
Birds, of course. There's a couple of birds I'm supposed to take pictures of for PEPSOB. That's People for the Preservation and Study of Birds. You can recognize them by their songs, which are on this tape, which you can play on my cassette player, which you're going to have to get from M's Emporium as soon as you get your boat fixed. Think you can handle that?
Sounds good.
Here's everything you'll need. M's Emporium is up lake on the west side. Not that I'm trying to get you out of my hair or anything, but try not to come pestering me till you're done, okay? One more thing. You smoke?
Only when I'm on fire.
Oh, you're a spunky one, aren't you? Well, These woods may not look it, but they're tinder dry. One lit match, and the best bird habitat on the East Coast will go up in smoke. So watch what you do. 'Cause if anything like that happens, I won't be looking for birds anymore. I'll be looking for you. Watch yourself out there.
Hey there! Welcome to M's Emporium. I'm Emily Griffin.
My name's Nancy Drew. I'm staying out at the old Malone place. You know, the house Sally McDonald bought.
Now, what's she doing inviting guests out to that old dump?
As it turns out, I'm there by myself. The dog scared her off.
I told her. I said, Sally, that old house is gonna be nothing but trouble. And sure enough, Malone's hounds have come back. Just when we all thought they were finally resting in peace.
Have you ever seen the dogs?
Nope. Don't want to, neither. Just hearing 'em howl's bad enough. Scares the bejeebies out of me.
I got the bejeebies scared out of me twice last night. Just before I saw the dogs, I caught a man named Red Knot prowling around outside the house.
The bird watcher. Comes in every so often to stock up on that weirdo food he eats. You know how them tree hugger types are.
It seemed to me that he was more into watching birds than hugging trees.
Yeah, well, whatever. One thing's for sure, he's gonna wind up with a dose of buckshot in his hind end if he keeps tramping through people's yards making noises like he just popped out of a UFO.
Mr. Knott did me a favor, and in return he asked me to pick up a cassette player from you.
Oh yeah, I got it right here. Thought maybe the old coot had forgotten he left it here. What else can I do you for?
I need to get the water from Sally's well tested. How would I go about doing that, do you know?
Just get a water testing kit from the ranger station and follow the directions.
Where's the ranger station?
Just up lake from Sally's on the east side.
Why would there be a problem with the water?
'Cause it's well water. And seeing as Malone dug that well 80 years ago, what gets pumped out of it could be pretty funky.
These so-called ghost dogs left very real paw prints. I saw some near the cemetery that's by the Malone house. Have you ever been there?
Can't say as I have. Poking around cemeteries ain't exactly a hobby with me.
Does the name Waldo Matthias mean anything to you?
Can't say as it does.
Where do you find your... Achoo!
Bless you. It's all the dust. Sometimes I think it grows on this stuff.
Some of those old bottles are beautiful. Where'd you get them?
Found 'em. See, back in the days of Prohibition, that old Malone place used to be party central. Only way to get to and from back then was by boat. And when those boats dumped, on account of bad weather or bad driving or the feds suddenly showing up, well, everything from diamond necklaces to full bottles of illegal booze sank to the bottom of the lake.
So it's finders keepers, huh?
That's right. See, recovering objects from the lake bed is illegal. According to Squeaky Wheel Acres, dragging the lake for artifacts was upsetting its delicate eco-balance. So thanks mostly to his constant squawking, the state banned it.
Squeaky Wheel Acres?
Jeff Akers, local park ranger. I keep telling him all this stuff washed up on shore. But does that snobby little stickler for rules believe me?
Sounds like you aren't real fond of Ranger Akers.
Jeff Akers could take all his precious rules and regulations and take a flying leap. Now, I got nothing against getting more customers in here, mind you. But I kind of like Moon Lake the way it is. Small, quiet, out of the way. But Jeff Akers, why, there's nothing he'd like better than to see all the lake and all the property around it turned into one big, noisy, jam-packed state park.
Why would he want that?
He's the type of guy who likes to boss people around, makes them feel important. So if the park got way bigger and was crawling with tourists, why, instead of giving out maybe one ticket for littering every 2 days, he'd be giving out 12 tickets every 2 hours. He'd be in heaven. Well, hey, I'm sure you got better things to do than getting your ear chewed off by yours truly.
I need to buy something.
You want it? I got it. As long as you pay cash, that is.
That's just it. I'm running kind of low on cash. Would it be possible to start a line of credit?
My daddy always said, neither a borrower nor a lender be. But I'll tell you what, seeing as how you're a friend of Sally's and seeing as how I got some things around here that could use doing, I guess we could work something out. What is it you need?
Do you sell sandpaper by any chance?
I do, but Mr. Birdbrain was in last week and cleaned me out. Said he was tired of that observation platform of his giving him splinters in his hinter regions.
I've disturbed him enough already. Would anyone else around here have some?
He's your only hope, but you better ask him for it quick. That deck of his is pretty big, and those squares I sold him are pretty small.
There's a large tree blocking Sally's driveway. Do you know of anyone who can come out and clear it away?
I'll get Tucker Davis to take care of it. Gotta warn you, though. Tucker tends to do things in his own sweet time.
Guess I'll see you later.
Yodelay-hee-hoo!
Hello, can I help you?
Hi, my name's Nancy Drew. I'm visiting Sally McDonald. Are you the park ranger?
Park Ranger Jeff Akers, at your service. Let's see, Sally McDonald is the woman who bought the old Malone place.
That's right, only she's gone back to Philadelphia. Malone's dogs got to her.
Don't tell me she believes all that ghost dog stuff.
I saw them myself.
Whatever's out there, I'm sure they're no more and no less than exactly what they look and sound like. Dogs. Living, breathing, very noisy dogs.
Why do you think dogs would attack Sally's house?
Dogs can be trained to do almost anything.
Any idea what would make a dog's eyes glow yellow?
Something in their diet, maybe? Some oddball vitamin or protein.
As a park ranger, don't you want to know for sure what's behind these dog attacks?
Do you always ask this many questions?
As a matter of fact, I do.
I'm a very busy man, Miss Drew, but I am here to serve the public.
Do you have something I could use to test the well water at Sally's?
Sure do. Simple to use, too. Just pump some water into this vial, return the sample to me, I'll send it off, and in a day or two, you'll find out whether or not your water's fit to drink.
Does everyone out here have a well?
Everyone who doesn't want to die of thirst does. Hooking up to a municipal water supply is out of the question. Too expensive.
This place isn't exactly your ordinary ranger station, is it?
It's also the Moon Lake Post Office, and it's the unofficial Moon Lake Museum of Factual and Natural History. I've lived here all my life, so I can't help but feel obligated to protect not only the area's flora and fauna, but also its past.
Which is apparently rather colorful.
As a member of the law enforcement community, I prefer to dwell on the positive aspects of history instead of on the activities of a bunch of glorified thugs.
So you'd probably like to see the old Malone place torn down and forgotten.
Not necessarily. It's hard to ignore its potential as a tourist attraction. And if that's what it takes to draw more people to Moon Lake, I'm a reasonable man.
As an officer of the law, can you think of anyone who might want to scare Sally off her property?
The woman who owns the shop across the lake? Emily Griffin? I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure she's been dragging the lake in front of Malone's house for artifacts, which is illegal. It would be a lot easier for her to do her dirty work if nobody was living there.
What do you know about the cemetery behind the Malone house?
People are buried there. Beyond that, what's to know?
Is Malone buried there?
That's the rumor.
The inscription on one of the tombstones reads Waldo Matthias. Does that name ring any bells?
Not in my steeple.
Would it be okay if I looked around?
Please do. And if you have any questions, any more questions, just ask.
Would you mind mailing this letter for me?
Not at all.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here. Oh, and one last thing. The deer mouse population has boomed this year, so please take precautions if you're cleaning out any area where they may have nested. They can carry some nasty diseases.
Thanks for the tip, Ranger Akers. birdie, birdie, birdie. No birds here. Come back! I must have scared it. Come back! Missed it.
You're back.
I have that water sample. What do I do with it?
Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Howdy, Nancy.
Any word from Tucker, what's his name? He hasn't been by to move that tree yet.
I'll give him another call. But like I said, the man marches to the beat of another drummer. A very slow drummer.
Guess I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
You find all the birds?
I found some birds, but no matter how quiet I am, I've been scaring other birds away before I can take their picture. What am I doing wrong?
You're wearing those clothes. That's what you're doing wrong. You need to blend in, like me. Go back over to M's tacky tourist trap and get yourself some camouflage gear. Only sensible thing that money grubber carries.
I'm sorry to keep bugging you, but I need some sandpaper. Emily said you might have some.
Here, take it and scram. I was just about to call in a meadowlark. That was always Ruth's favorite.
Was Ruth your wife?
Good heavens, no. My wife had no patience for birding. Ruth was my dog. Border collie. She'd hear a meadowlark, and by golly, her ears would perk, and she'd cock her head, and she'd just come as close to smiling as ever a dog could.
Do many people around here own dogs?
Not really. Most people don't bother. The place is surrounded by park land, and Ranger Acres just loves enforcing the leash laws. There it is again. Take your sandpaper and go sand something, okay?
It's stuck. Leaves that appear on a fresh spring tree make my birth different from the other three. When swans drift by on shimmering blue, I'm the one who plays in the summer dew. When autumn's call brings out the deer, it is I who howls on mornings clear. And when winter comes and birds take flight, look to me to sleep through the long gray night.
Howdy, Nancy.
To make a long story short, I need some camouflage gear.
Got some right over here. One size fits all. But I'm running kind of low on bait. So if you go out and get me, say a dozen little critters, I'll give you the camos.
You got a deal. So, what kind of bait do you need?
Worms, spiders, beetles, grubs. Anything that wriggles on its belly'll do. Just look under stuff. Rocks, logs, dead leaves. Should be able to find 12 in no time.
Hunting for critters isn't illegal, is it?
Things ain't quite that bad around here. Least not yet. Now, if Jeff Akers' daddy was still around, you might get arrested for cruelty to animals or some such nonsense. Joe Akers used to be the deputy sheriff. Real critter lover, that one was.
Joe Akers is Jeff's father?
That's right.
Guess I'll see you later.
Keep on trucking.
You're back.
Have you gotten the results back from that water sample I left with you?
I meant to call the Department of Health today for a status report, but frankly, I've been way too busy.
Sounds like Moon Lake could use 2 rangers.
If I were in charge of just 10 more acres of parkland, they'd give me an assistant, and I could devote more time to the acquisition of more land and eventually put Moon Lake on the map as one of the biggest, most popular parks in the state.
Why didn't the Parks Department buy the Malone property instead of Sally?
She outbid them, the cheapskates.
Well, if those dogs scare Sally away for good, other people are bound to think twice about buying the place. The bank will lower its price, and you'll have your land.
You're insinuating things again, Miss Drew.
I'm sorry, I really am. It's just that Sally's my friend, and I'd really like to find out why someone's doing this to her.
Tell you what, if you're serious about making amends, there's some boxes by the computer labeled with dates. They're from the estate of a local history buff. She kept everything from newspaper clippings to old photos to recipes for apple crisp. She put everything in envelopes, then numbered them by year using Roman numerals. Just put the envelopes in order by year with the earliest date in front. Oh, and if you're rusty on Roman numerals, there's an entry on them in the computer.
Okay if I read what's in the envelopes?
Don't go reading anything until you're through, or take my word for it, you'll never get finished.
I've been trying to take pictures of birds for this guy named Red Knot. Ever met him?
Oh yes, the Birdman. I'd stay away from him if I were you.
Why? Is something wrong with him?
He's a fanatic. He's got it in his head that Moon Lake would be the best birdwatching venue in the world except for one thing: too many people. Believe me, if there was a way to get this park shut down and all the homes on the lake torn down, he'd do it in an instant.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Darn, it flew away. Darn, it flew away. Let's see. Jeff said the envelope with the earliest date goes down in the front of each box.
You're back.
Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet?
There's something here for you from the State Department of Health.
Oh my gosh, not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately.
I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew. I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation.
I noticed you have a dog.
That's Yogi, who never goes out unless he's on a leash. Park rules.
I couldn't help but notice that he's about the same size as those ghost dogs were.
I hope you're not suggesting I trained Yogi to run around in the middle of the night barking and attacking houses.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
Now that they're all sorted, I can do some reading.
you're back.
I finished putting all those envelopes in order.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Drew. And to show my gratitude, I've got something for you.
Chances are it isn't a paycheck.
No, it's an honorary Junior Park Ranger pin. I keep them on hand so I can give them out to children whom I see demonstrating respect for park rules and regulations. A little bit of positive reinforcement. Unfortunately, I don't get to give them out that often.
Oh, gee, thanks, Ranger Akers. Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
Those look too rotten.
Nice junior park ranger pen. You must really be on Acre's good side.
Guess I'll see you later.
Yodelay-hee-hoo!
Ew!
Hey, Nancy, how's the bait finding coming along?
Got him right here.
Well, now, you done all right for a city gal. Here you go. Hope whatever you're hiding from won't catch you. How you holding up?
Guess I'll see you later.
Keep on trucking.
How's the bird watching coming along?
I just can't seem to find a red-tailed hawk. Any suggestions?
Well, there's gotta be lots around here. You haven't been going around wearing sunglasses and earmuffs, have you?
No, Red, I haven't.
Well, according to my bird map, they like to nest in the big tree that's just to the southwest of the Malone house. I suggest you park yourself nearby and wait. Bound to spot one sooner or later.
See you in a while.
Shh, down a notch. Remember.
Well, I don't see any hawks, but this is probably the tree Red was talking about. At least it was the tree. That sounded like a hawk. Hey, what is that hawk standing on? Oh, that looks like a speaker. Huh? I better get out of here. My arms and legs are tied. I can't move. At least I can kick. If I could just get that scythe down, I could use the blade to cut the rope around my wrists and free my hands. I can't just let this thing burn up. I've got to put it out.
What in blazes happened? I saw the fire from my platform and came running. You weren't in there playing with matches, were you?
I was looking at birds, and then I noticed something on the house, and the next thing I knew, I was locked in the tool shed and somebody was setting it on fire.
Whoa, you're not making much sense. Probably smoke inhalation or something. Come talk to me after you've cleaned yourself up and gotten some sleep. I need to tell you something.
Somebody tried to kill you?
I didn't say that.
Somebody knocked you out, locked you in a shed, set it on fire, and you think they were, what, just pulling a prank? Wake up and smell the hostile vibes, Nancy.
I guess it's just hard for me to believe that anybody would consider me to be that big a threat.
I should have never let you stay there by yourself.
Sally, I'm fine. I feel bad about your tool shed, though.
Who cares about the shed? It was full of junk anyway. I'm glad to be rid of it.
That's kind of the way Ranger Akers saw it, too. He showed up right after the birdwatcher did and ticketed me for burning refuse in a manner that endangered park property.
That man is insufferable.
Emily was nice, though. She came by right afterwards and wouldn't leave until I drank the tea she made for me.
Look, Nancy, one more time. If you want to leave, just say the word and I'll come get you.
Sally, one more time. I'm fine.
Well, then promise me you'll be careful, okay?
I promise. I'll be in touch.
You better.
Nancy, how's it going?
This caller ID stuff is going to take some getting used to.
I'm here too, Nan. What's going on?
I saw the dogs Sally warned me about, and she was right. They were pretty scary.
You sure they weren't wolves or something?
They were definitely dogs. They came out of nowhere and started leaping at the windows and scratching at the doors like they wanted to get in.
Maybe that was just their way of being friendly.
These dogs were not friendly, believe me, and they had glowing yellow eyes. A birdwatcher I ran into said they were ghosts.
Ghosts?
The man who built Sally's place on Moon Lake was a gangster. The birdwatcher said that the ghosts of his dogs show up every time someone new tries to live here.
The place is haunted by ghost dogs?
Like there's such a thing as ghosts. But it does sound like you've got another mystery on your hands, Detective Drew.
Moon Lake is gorgeous, but it's so remote. The park ranger is the closest thing they have to a sheriff around here.
Park ranger? What's he like?
Which, as we all know, is Bess's way of saying, park ranger? Is he cute?
Not true, George. Nancy thinks everybody's cute, so what will be the point? Anyway, Nancy, you were saying?
His name's Jeff Akers. He's very helpful, polite, efficient, knowledgeable.
Sounds boring.
In fact, he probably knows more about the area than all the other residents of Moon Lake combined.
Sounds very boring.
What's he know about these alleged ghost dogs?
He thinks they're just plain old dogs that for some reason like to run around at night scaring people.
And what does Detective Drew think about the dogs?
I think Sally had good reason to be scared of them. I don't blame her for leaving, which leads me to think that maybe that was the whole idea.
Somebody had those dogs attack Sally in order to scare her away?
Why would anybody do that? She was there for less than a month.
You'd have to be a total creep to make enemies that fast. And Sally's one of the nicest people I know.
Ooh, Nancy! Speaking of cute guys, Frank and Joe Hardy called. I filled them in on where you are and what you're doing, and they're dying to hear from you.
Oh, yeah? What are they up to?
Compared to you, nothing. As I was telling them about this latest case of yours, I could hear them turning green with envy right through the receiver.
Their number is 280-555-4865. Bess didn't recognize it when they called and almost didn't answer the phone.
Good thing my cousin here has a memory like an elephant, huh?
What's that supposed to mean?
Call them, Nancy. They're dying to hear from you. But remember, Frank's cute and all that, but George and I want to hear from you, too.
Yeah, no fair discussing the case with them from now on and not with us. Promise you'll keep us up to speed?
I promise. This birdwatcher I met has got me taking pictures of birds for some survey he's doing. He's a bit of a grump.
Does he live nearby?
No, he just kind of hangs out in the woods. In fact, I only see him at night.
Interesting. He's in the woods at night. The dogs are in the woods at night.
Could he have had a reason for wanting Sally out of the Malone house?
Maybe. From what Ranger Akers told me, Red would like everybody around here out of their houses. He thinks there's too many people at Moon Lake, and it's ruining the bird watching. Ranger Akers called him a fanatic.
Fanatic equals suspect in my book.
Get this. It turns out that Jeff Akers will be one happy park ranger if Sally sells her Moon Lake property back to the bank, and they wind up selling it to the Parks Department.
You think he might be responsible for all this ghost dog stuff?
He has a motive and he has a dog, although it doesn't look at all like the dogs that have been scaring Sally.
But it shows he knows something about dogs. Better pull out your suspect list and pencil him in, Nan.
I still say you guys should lighten up on him.
Did I mention that all the water in Sally's house comes from a well?
Ew, really? Does it taste like rotten eggs?
Not all well water tastes like rotten eggs, Bess.
I don't know if it does or not. Because the well is so old, I need to get the water tested before I drink it.
Good plan. Nothing will wreck your day faster than a nice tall glass of contaminated water.
You two would get a kick out of the woman who owns this little store on Moon Lake.
How so?
She's a real country gal. We got this deal worked out where if I need something she carries, she'll let me do little chores to pay for it.
What kind of little chores?
Oh, like collecting bugs and worms so she can sell them to fishermen as bait.
Sounds delightful.
Unfortunately, she may not be as harmless as she seems.
Why do you say that?
She also sells antiques from the 1920s that she finds in Moon Lake.
Is that bad?
If she's been getting them by dragging the lake in front of Sally's house, it is. That's illegal.
You know what that means.
It means Emily Griffin has made my suspect list.
Because if she is breaking the law, she'd want the Malone house to stay empty so she can keep dragging the lake without anybody seeing her.
I think somebody may have deliberately put poison down Sally's well.
Yikes.
What makes you think that?
The Department of Health found unusually high levels of arsenic in the water sample I sent them.
Somebody's trying to poison you with arsenic?
They said that?
It's apparently not unusual to find some arsenic in well water.
So somebody could be trying to poison you.
But you don't know for sure.
Right, and they may not be trying to poison anybody. They may want to contaminate the well just enough to force Sally to either go to the expense of digging a new one or forget the whole thing and leave.
And because arsenic is found naturally in well water anyway, you may never know for sure. Bummer.
Bye, you guys.
Don't be a stranger.
Take care.
Hello?
Hey, Joe, it's Nancy.
Nancy, how's it going? No, wait, don't answer that. Talk about the weather or something.
The weather?
Yeah, that'll give me time to grab the other phone and take it outside. Frank's washing the car. He'll kill me if he misses anything. Here, wait a sec. Take a break, it's Nancy. Hang on, he's putting the hose down. He's drying his hands. He's walking over.
Nancy, hi. What's up? Bess and George say you've got another mystery on your hands.
Or should we say, on your paws.
They told you about the dogs?
We made them tell us everything. Pumped them dry.
As you may have guessed, we're not exactly rolling in detective work here.
So you're living vicariously through me.
It's not the first time, sad to say.
What conclusions have you reached so far, Detective?
I'm convinced that someone is using those ghost dogs to scare Sally into abandoning Malone's house. If I can just figure out why, I might be able to figure out who.
Never hurts to look for motive.
If nothing else, those ghost dogs are very well trained. I'm watching to see who owns and or trains dogs around here.
Good plan. But don't forget, a really smart perpetrator is going to make it look like he or she has no connection to dogs whatsoever.
But then a really, really smart perp might have dogs all over the place and not bother to hide it, because he or she would figure you'd never suspect anyone so obvious.
That birdwatcher doesn't have a dog. And when I met him for the first time, he seemed awfully eager to make sure I knew the story about Malone and his dogs.
Sounds like a suspect to me.
Bess said something about a good-looking park ranger?
Ranger Acres has a motive and a dog and a uniform, which is why Bess assumes he's good-looking.
I'm sure my brother here would say a uniform automatically makes somebody more suspicious, because most people assume that a uniform makes the wearer less suspicious. Right, Joe?
Right. Of course, then again, your really, really smart perp is going to...
Joe, we get the picture.
Malone and his 4 dogs are supposedly buried in a little cemetery near the house. They've all got headstones inscribed with when they were born and when they died.
That's interesting. Did Malone have family?
Not that I'm aware of.
Then who had the tombstones inscribed?
That's exactly what I was wondering.
Sounds like this latest puzzle of yours is still missing a few pieces.
I seem to be getting nowhere fast. Anybody have any suggestions?
We can probably come up with a few.
But we're not going to make it easy for you.
After all, it's your case, not ours. Be sure to notice what shows up behind each dog in the clock after you turn one of the dogs in the cabinet.
Psychologists call it feedback.
The trick is to turn each dog in the right direction. But until you figure out what the right direction for each dog is, I guess you will have pretty much hit the wall.
Later, guys.
See ya!
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
The wall hanging in the living room with a poem on it, and those dog carvings in that cabinet above the sofa. What can you tell me about them?
Aren't they cool? They came with the place. Sold the clock. Apparently, Malone had them custom made when he built the house. In fact, they're all built into the house. They're still there because you can't move them.
Does anything happen when you turn those dog carvings?
Not that I know of. But that clock, one day, I was messing with the hands. You know, trying to get them to work. And all of a sudden, one of the 4 little doors flew open, and instead of a cuckoo, this dog popped out and barked 3 times. It's a doggy clock. That Malone, bad as he was, he sure loved those dogs.
I'm afraid I have some bad news. I had your well water tested, and according to the health department, it contains a very high level of arsenic.
Arsenic? Somebody poisoned my well?
Maybe, maybe not. The health department is running more tests. When you bought the house, did anyone mention a problem with the well?
No. And it doesn't matter. I love that house, and I am going to live in it. If that well's bad, I'll just dig another one. At least I will when I know for sure why bad things keep happening there. You are going to figure that out, right, Nancy?
You bet I am.
I knew I could count on you.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
It could be mice making that sound. It looks like a tiny hole. It looks like a tiny hole. What's the combination? I bet those were deer mice. William Akers? I wonder if he's related to Jeff Akers. Speakeasy. Joe Akers? Emily said Jeff Akers' father was named Joe. Maybe Jeff is related to William Akers after all. The dogs will lead the way. I wonder what that means.
You're back.
Where's Yogi?
In the run out back. Even out of sight, he's under my full control, as park rules require.
I found a newspaper dating back to 1927 in Sally's house. Since you're kind of an expert on the history of Moon Lake, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Mickey Malone?
Not at all.
The article mentioned that a man named William Akers used to work for Malone. Is he a relative of yours?
No. Quite a coincidence, I'll admit, but no. I am in no way related to the head flunky of some two-bit gangster and his gang of thugs.
I found this old picture in Sally's house. Do you know who these people are?
The man is Mickey Malone, I know that. I'm guessing that this is his girlfriend, Vivian Burnett, I think her name was. And judging by the year of that brand new Ford in the background, I'd say the picture was taken in 1928.
She was probably as familiar with Malone's house and his dogs as he was. Think there's any chance she's still alive?
Tell you what, Miss Drew. Why don't I go through my files and see what I can dig up on this mystery woman? I'm a busy man, but like I always say, I'm here to serve.
When and why was Malone arrested?
I'm sorry, Miss Drew. As usual, I'm a little pressed for time. If you have more questions, why don't you sit down at the computer and peruse the Moon Lake database of fascinating factoids that I've put together?
What happened to Akers and the rest of Malone's gang after he went to prison?
Fortunately for Moon Lake, they all left and went their separate ways.
What do you know about a man named Joe Akers?
Why do you ask?
I understand he used to be the deputy here.
So?
According to Emily Griffin, Deputy Joe Akers was your father, and according to the journal I found, William Akers' son was named Joe. Another coincidence?
All right. William Akers was my grandfather.
And you don't want anyone to know that.
It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing.
What did William Akers do after Malone was arrested?
I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew. In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man. I apologize for my previous behavior. As a park ranger, I strive to keep my personal feelings in check at all times, and that time I failed. It's my duty as a public servant to try to make it up to you. What would you like to know?
What can you tell me about the gold that Malone supposedly buried on his property?
As far as I know, it doesn't exist. It's just one of those rumors people want to believe, so they do.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
How you holding up?
I found an old newspaper in Sally's house that contained an article on Mickey Malone. It really got my curiosity going. What else can you tell me about him?
Person you should talk to is Jeff Akers. He's got this historical museum thing going out at that ranger station of his.
Do you know anything about the gold that Mickey Malone supposedly buried somewhere on his property?
All I got to say about it is, if there really was a bunch of gold buried somewhere and nobody ever found it, it's for darn sure nobody ever will. Not with them dogs up there.
Guess I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
You're back.
Did your grandfather ever find any gold on Malone's property?
If he did, he never spent it. He wasn't poor when he died, but he certainly wasn't rich.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
Hello there. I owe you an apology. After you came up here looking for those red tails, I gave my map a closer look and realized it was more than 50 years old. Reason you can't find them is probably because their favorite nesting tree is gone. Finding that hawk's gonna be harder than I thought, so why don't you just give me back my camera and I'll take it from here? It didn't get burned up in that fire or anything, did it?
Somebody clobbers me over the head and then tries to barbecue me, and all you're worried about is your camera?
It's a very expensive camera.
Where did those gas cans come from?
I ran out of gas. So much for being prepared, huh? Well, that's all I wanted to tell you. I'm sure you've got places to go, things to see, people to pester.
Mickey Malone supposedly buried a bunch of stolen gold bars on his property way back in the 20s. Did you know that?
Really? That's interesting. I don't much care, but it's interesting.
So you don't know anything about it?
Nope.
You'll be happy to know that I did get a picture of a red-tailed hawk. So here's your camera back. I got all the birds.
Thank you, Nancy. Nice work. You're a credit to your generation.
See you in a while.
Watch yourself out there.
Good news. I have information on your mystery woman.
Thank you so much. Is she still alive?
Her name these days is Vivian Whitmore. She lives in Las Vegas, and her number is 702-555-9137.
Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.